Hello everyone and welcome back to another exciting edition of Boyographic and the 50th episode, no less. Yay! So this week I thought I would do a title I've been meaning to cover for a while, as it also fits into the July-licensed theme. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. As a rule of thumb, the words Konami, Turtles and Quality were pretty damn synonymous with each other in the late 80s and early 90s. Say what you will about the NES original title and Tournament Fighters, but it's hard to argue that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game and its arcade sequel, one of my favourite games of all time, Turtles in Time, are not in the higher echelons of side-scrolling arcade genius. But it seems that with all the praise these arcade Adonises get, Konami's console exclusives hardly get a look in. I mean, when was the last time you heard anyone talk about the Manhattan Project with the reverence it deserves? This goes double for the spectacular outings on the Nintendo Game Boy. A wrong I aim to right here today, starting with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. But Matt, I hear you cry, you're a European! Shouldn't that be Hero Turtles? No, it bloody should not! For the same reason Probotector is Contra and Castlevania Bloodlines isn't the new generation. Fuck censoring violent words in titles. Unless, of course, it's renaming Ninja Gaiden to Shadow Warrior, because it's a much better name. In that case, it's not censorship, it's just common sense. So, taking inspiration from its arcade-centric forefather, Fall of the Foot Clan is a side-scrolling beat-em-up that feels almost more like a platformer due to its flat side-on perspective. However, don't let the missing depth fool you, as while it might not be present in the level environments, Fall of the Foot Clan makes up for it in charm and tight gameplay. From a rather basic text-based menu that is just as half-arsed as that of Nemesis, you take control of one of the four turtles, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael or Michelangelo, in a game where your choice of turtle doesn't actually matter for once, as all four have the same range of attack. So for once, Raphael fans, you're going to be able to be cool and crude by choice, as Donnie's stick can hit as far as his daggers. Pressing down an attack will see you throw a shuriken at an enemy, while up an attack will bring out the staple powerful kick as seen in other Turtles titles. The story here is the usual, April kidnapped, go save. And as we all know, when the evil Shredder attacks, these turtle boys don't cut no slack, meaning you've got to wade through 5 relatively straightforward levels, from the streets of New York all the way to the Technodrome, kicking shell and raising hell as you go along. Perhaps my biggest complaint with Fall of the Foot Clan is its enemy variety. While regular favourite fodder like Foot Soldiers, Roadkill Rodneys and Mauser's Return, that's about all you're going to face in this game. I realise it's generally the same in most other Turtles titles, but at least in the arcade titles, there was colour to differentiate enemies, but it also made a difference in their abilities to boot. Though it must be said, some of the enemy names made exclusively for this title are great. The best, of course, being Fillet o' Filth and Not So Great Ball of Fire. They're just the kind of quality pun names I can get behind. At the end of each stage is, you guessed it, a boss battle against some of the series' staples, Bebop and Rocksteady, Baxter Stockman, Krang, and of course the Shredder himself. None of them will really challenge you too much, as there seems to be at least one way to cheat each of these encounters, something that would be improved upon in the game's sequel, Back from the Sewers. On the off chance you do die to one of these fiendish foes, your turtle will get himself captured, meaning you'll have to select one of the other heroes in a half shell to continue, as turtles essentially act as lives in this game. Getting defeated 4 times will bring about a game over screen. But as there's the option to select any level you want from the main menu, none of your progress will be lost if this happens. If you do beat the bosses, however, you'll be treated to a cutscene for your troubles that all look pretty great, even if the story's text feels a little crammed in at the bottom. Just be sure not to get too quizzical as to why there's a line down the centre of Donatello's head. Phallic foreheads aside, Something that I believe really does work in this game are its visuals. Fall of the Foot Clan is a pretty good looking game for an early release, both in terms of its turtle sprites, with their little weapon twirls and the walk animations, and in the environments you conquer on your way to the final confrontation. Sure, it's not Trip World, but it does the job a lot better than the likes of Double Dragon in my opinion, and compared to most early Game Boy sprites, the turtles and their foes are large and pretty impressive. The box art for the American and European releases of the game also looks amazing, as the artwork is actually by Turtles co-creator Kevin Eastman, and was used originally for the comic book adaptation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. This explains why the Foot Clan on the cover look like humans and not the hooded wonders of the TV show clearly shown in the game itself. Lastly, we can't forget the game's score, composed by Michiru Yamane, famed composer of Psychodon, Symphony in the Night, and the previously reviewed Nemesis. Here, the original tracks are pretty spectacular as you'd expect, with the Turtles title theme sounding great, even if overshadowed in my opinion by the version you'll hear in the game's sequel. So, all in all, Fall of the Foot Clan is a pretty solid game. The only downside I see is its difficulty, as it's a very easy title that will probably take you about 20 minutes to walk through with minimal bother. But if you're okay with that, then there's not a lot wrong with the Turtles' first outing on a portable platform. Visually appealing graphics, hammable chiptunes and tight controls definitely make it a title worth picking up if you see it in the wild. Don't expect for your world to be blown by this game, but if you're looking to be entertained for the same amount of time as a Turtles episode, this is the game for you. Cowabunga indeed. And that brings us to the end of another Boyographic, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please subscribe and tell some others who you think might be interested that they should as well, because we update every Friday, and that could be one of our Boyographic series where I look at the highs and lows of the Game Boy library one card at a time. It could also be the Boy Curious videos where I look at bootlegs and oddities for the system, as well as the All the Glory videos where I long play a game, cutting out all of the deaths, leaving you with none of the faff and all of the glory. I'd also like to give a shout out to my friend Paul, who actually gifted me this cart. Many thanks, buddy, I'm forever in your debt. And if you would like to hear more from me, until next Friday, you can find me on Twitter at Gameboy. Until next week, Game Boys and Girls, where we'll be wrapping up your license. Game on.